Ready Check Radio.
Oh yeah, what's up internet? It's Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. That means here on Ready Check Radio, it's time for Snowbound, the Blizzard podcast. Welcome. We're doing the show live, twitch.tv/Ready Check Radio, RAIDEO. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, head on over to ReadyCheckRadio.com. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see all the socials for Facebook and Twitter and Twitch and YouTube and all of it. We would absolutely love you and send you big internet hugs if you would go follow all those things, notify, subscribe. You do all the usual things that people tell you to do, and, of course, tell your friends as we're trying to grow the channel here. We've got a good show for you today. Lots of World of Warcraft news, and we're going to talk about some Overwatch, and apparently looking at the panel, there's already opinions on our Overwatch topic. Jeez. These people. I guess I should introduce them. Dom Greco, a.k.a. Zista. What's up, sir?
How's it going?
Not too bad. Not too bad. You got the Dark Portal behind you. Although
it's the wrong one.
It's not Dark Portal-y right now.
No, it's the wrong one on purpose, because this is the one I'm waiting for.
No plans to enter the Dark Portal all over again. You were prepared. 15 points. 15 points. So I guess we'll have the answer to that question when we get to that topic in just a minute. Also, back by popular demand, Angela Mercurio, a.k.a. Indy. How are you, Indy?
How's it going? Pretty good, thanks. We're here.
We are here. Nice to have you back. Internet problems last week. You all right now? You all working out? It's all good?
I had every problem last week, so it happens.
I had
happens
all
to
the problems. All of them. Put them in a bag. All right, let's talk about World of Warcraft first. We had a big Overwatch 2 show last week covering the PvP reveal and the Reddit AMA. We had special guest Jason Winter on to help us break it all down since he's a little more Overwatch inclined than some of us, and Indy wasn't able to make it, so he, thank you very much, sat in. If you want some Overwatch 2 news on that type of stuff, go watch that show last week. You can find it on ReadyCheckRadio.com. or on our YouTube channel. But today we're going to start off, once again, with some World of Warcraft news because the great push is complete. It's all pushed. It's been pushed. It's been pushed. The great push has completed. I don't, what do you say? It's done?
It's birthed.
It's birthed. The Great Push Finals, and actually 3 days of it, but the finals completed this past weekend, and I gotta say, first off, did anybody watch any of it? Live or recording, doesn't matter, but did you watch any, Indy, my fellow MDI fan?
I mean, believe it or not, and I see your notes, so I'm kind of bummed that I didn't.
Oh, no.
But I wasn't inclined, but also I was working on I was pushing for Keystone Master of my own.
Yeah, I still gotta do mine too. How you doing,
I'm
Zista?
so far behind.
Still sitting where it's sitting.
Where is it sitting?
Yeah, how close are you?
I have couple 14s, and the rest are all 10s and 12s.
Yeah, I got all of them.
Doesn't
So
count.
yeah, we gotta get on that, man. I can't be sitting on that stuff. The Great Push is over, and honestly, if you don't remember what this was the not the MDI Cups, the Mythic Invitational Cups. This was kind of an anybody could join, and the point was not to just complete it and beat your opponent. Zista, I thought maybe, terrible name aside, that you might like this one a little more because the point was more how many of these dungeons can you get and how high of a key can you push on them, not necessarily me racing you to do a 16 key or an 18 key, and whoever finishes first, wins. This was more long-term. You ran multiple dungeons. You were free to bounce back and forth, and as long as you obeyed different timers that were going on. So I kind of thought you'd be a little more interested in this than you were in the Invitational Cups, but it sounds like that wasn't the case.
Well, so I didn't know that was the change ahead of time, right? So I this probably would have been something I was a little more interested in. Um, but unfortunately, I was unaware of it at the time that it happened, and after uh, it had ended, it was too late. I've been incredibly busy.
So
Just
even though we
not
covered it
had the
on the
time.
show, that was like out of sight, out of mind for you because
It was because I hear the great push, I hear the speed running, and my brain just shuts off. Like it's like I don't want any part of this.
yeah, so you still have to
You
time
know.
the key. That's
Mhm.
important. And time might be a factor or could be a factor down the road in tiebreakers, depending on how a tournament plays out. But ultimately, if my group pushes a 26 of a dungeon and you push a 25 of that same dungeon, I'm 1 point ahead of you in the overall standings,
Yeah.
provided we both finished in time. Now, if we were both tied across the board at the end, then they start going to who did which dungeons faster and who overall was faster, things like that. Luckily, it did not come to that. It did not come to that. Honestly, I thought the Great Push should be the de facto format from now on. Like, in my estimation, it absolutely should be the de facto format. It is, in my estimation, infinite, and maybe people share this opinion, maybe they don't. It is infinitely more entertaining to watch. It is infinitely more entertaining to watch. That's not to say that it's perfect and that there weren't issues and there were things that they do need to work on when they do the return of the Great Push. I don't know what the hell they're it's just, let's give the Great Push's revenge. Whatever the hell you want to call it. There are some kinks that need to be worked out. But I thought it was infinitely more entertaining to watch. To me, it was more of a show of skill than, not to say that the regular MDI Cups are not a show of skill,
Right.
but I thought there was a broader range of skill. You had a broader range of classes being used. You had instances where people were duo tanking things because that helped them push. I mean, we were seeing 25s, 26s, 27s, 28s pushed in this event, and a number of world firsts in the 27 and 28 categories along the way. Now, Indy, I said that I think it should be the de facto format, or at least considered to be the de facto format with some changes because it wasn't perfect. And immediately you shook your head no.
I mean, like it's cool to have the variation. But I really enjoyed the MDIs. I liked seeing the side by side, like two groups throwing and I realized there was more of a cookie cutter. You saw like they both went in with very similar, if not the same comps. Yes, I can understand how that can get a little boring, but for me, like I enjoyed the whole race aspect of it, like seeing them both start and try to finish alongside each other.
Well, you did
And it
have
was
that
almost
going
more
on here.
suspenseful.
Yeah, you did have that. Whoops. That is not what I meant to do.
You dragged me.
There we go. No, I was turning your volume up a little bit, and I clicked the wrong button. You did have that to a certain extent here. It wasn't, Dom's, your screen and my screen, and we're both running the same dungeon. We both started at the same time, and you're watching that progress. But you were watching 2, 3, and sometimes 4 different groups on the screen at the same time. But they could be in different dungeons. They could be at different points in the dungeon. They didn't necessarily start, even if they're running the same dungeon, they didn't necessarily start at the same time. So I will say, like, as presentationally, it is a harder format to educate the viewer in real time. Like, you can have that whole thing at the beginning to educate the viewer right off the bat on here's how things work. And if they're there for that, great. But you can't constantly reiterate that throughout the broadcast, through the multiple day broadcast. If you didn't watch it, go ahead.
As a viewer, I mean, I think when you're talking about educating the viewer, it's like getting the viewer to understand the format, maybe.
Yeah.
So,
That's exactly
just
what I'm talking
coming
about.
in, for me, like thinking about like educating the viewers, I look at things like really analytically sometimes. And so as a healer, I almost like to see something presented in a way where I can learn from that. And if I'm watching 4 different groups in 4 different instances, like it's almost not as easy for me to follow because I like to see it under a microscope, like almost how it was the first time in the MDIs, because I can watch it side by side. I can see what each healer's doing. It was really nice for me because they were both priests, so that was really nice. But yeah, I feel like I learned more from the MDIs.
Well, I don't know. Like the little bit of speed running in this kind of format that I've seen in the past for various things, it always seems like, at least from the ones that I've watched, that one team clearly has the lead, the other teams are behind, and that's not exciting for me because it's like you know exactly how far ahead they are. You know that the team that's in the lead currently has to slip up drastically for there to even be a chance at some point. There's like a 5-minute gap or something. Like it's just that stuff's not interesting to me.
Then let me sell you
I'd
a little,
maybe like a
Dom.
tournament bracket more than I would like, like a speed run side by side thing.
Let me sell you a little bit then, Dom, because if you don't want to watch 3 days of the great push, go watch day 3, the last hour of the broadcast. That's it.
Okay.
Just go watch the last hour, the finals of day 3. Because if that's one of your gripes, it is totally thrown out the window here. Going into day 3, 6 teams were still in it, all vying for first place. Now, one of them, unfortunately, had to drop out. They had some situations going on, and they just felt like they weren't going to be able to be competitive due to those situations, so they dropped out, which means we had 5 at the beginning of day 3. Going into the last hour, 4 were still fighting to get first place. All 4 were in it. It wasn't a situation where, Zista, you got to do this, but then you need like the stupid playoff scenarios for the NFL, when it's in week 12. Well, if Indy wins and these 2 teams draw or tie and or lose, it wasn't like that at all. If each team had done what they were trying to do, they were still in it. They were talking tiebreakers in the last hour. That's how close this was. In the last 10 minutes, you had 2 teams fall out of being able to make first place. And in the last 5 minutes, you had the final team fall out of being able to make first place. It really came down to, if any of these teams finish their run that they're currently on, they can win. They can win. Now, Echo did walk away with it again. Take that for whatever you will. Echo won MDI. Now they come and win the push. I thought it was kind of impressive on one front because Echo really isn't known for pushing keys. Just to push the rank of the key up. That's not kind of their forte, but they got some practice in. They were able to do it. Not surprised. They're super talented to begin with. But this was a little bit of an adaptation for them. And something we'll talk about in a second. They might have used a tactic that some people aren't happy with on a particular dungeon. We'll get to that in a second. I thought, though, it was super exciting to be watching this, Indy, in the last 15 minutes. There's still 4 teams in this, all doing different things. You're trying to watch every screen. I was, enthralled watching this, where MDI, I was like, okay, I know what's going on, and then I just listen to it in the background and then come and watch the last boss. Okay, cool, and then go back to doing my thing. This, I just sat here just watching the entire thing.
I guess. I mean, for me, though, it's preference. Like, for me, I was more watching like a hawk the MDIs because I was watching just that, really focusing on the healers, not necessarily even I guess some groups would look at it and take from it, how did they pull this instance? How did they skip certain things in this instance? For me, it was all from a healer point of view. And if I have 4 different groups doing 4 different instances, it's really hard for me to pay attention. And I guess I'm not looking at it from the same perspective.
Yeah, it sounds like you're looking for that educational aspect. What can I pull away from this to improve my personal game?
Always.
Where I'm looking at it just like I would watch an NFL football game. I'm just looking for the competition and the excitement and that type of stuff. So we're
Yeah.
definitely from two different perspectives. And then there's Zista, who's just like, I'm not watching it.
Yeah.
No, I'd rather be playing it than watching it. You know?
Well, he can attest to the fact that I'm always trying to be a better healer because I never like to hurt people or let them die in my groups.
Oh, unless it's
Right?
him, then you're trying to push him off of cliffs.
I was just about to say that I do not agree with that statement at all because I've been
Aw.
life gripped off cliffs more than anybody in the world.
All right, so one item of controversy here before we move on, though. Echo did take the win, but there is a group that is not, a group of fans that is not exactly happy with them and a particular tactic that they used.
Tactic.
Mechanics.
I mean, what
talking
you call
about
a tactic,
the
I
old-
call a clever use of game mechanics.
Well,
Yeah.
so here's the thing. That part of this is a clever tactic, but as far as snapping plague borers goes, right? That can be a clever tactic. But using a hunter misdirection bug allowed them to snap those plague borers basically anywhere. Anywhere they wanted them to go in the instance. So, yes, you are able to snap them to a certain degree. You're just limited by a couple of things in real life gameplay without the use of a bug or anything. But to do what they were doing with the plague borers in game Zista, you actually had to take advantage of a bug with misdirection where you would fire it and then cancel the buff, not let it run its course, and it would snap these plague borers to their tanked target, usually the tank as the target, regardless of the distance, wherever the hell they were, which essentially let you use plague borers to nuke the last boss. I mean, you could do it whatever the hell you wanted with them. This has caused a little bit of controversy, not the snapping of the plague borers by themselves, but the addition of the misdirection bug.
Yeah. If the bug has been in the game this long, why? Why is it still in the game this long? So you think if there's a known bug that's in the game and people aren't gonna take the time to exploit it, I don't know. These things should be fixed in advance. I personally I don't fault them for using it because it's not like it's something that only they know about. This was known for a while, to my knowledge. I don't play a hunter, but
There
I
were
don't know.
some people thinking, Indy, that they weren't using misdirection, which there are clips showing that, yes, they were using this misdirection bug.
Mhm.
So throw that out. There were some saying that apparently there were reports that said Echo had asked about it ahead of time, like, is this legal to do?
Right.
What wasn't clear, though, was exactly what they asked, because the using of the plague borers in that way is not nobody's going to be like, no, you can't do that. If you can get them there and get them to explode, fine.
Yep.
So if they asked that, then that's kind of silly. But did they ask, can we use this misdirection bug? Because look what happens when you cancel the buff. And I don't think that's what was asked. Now
I'm gonna guess also no,
right.
because why would you give up your little secret before the event? But here's the thing, I feel a little differently about what Dom calls clever use of mechanics. I agree. It's not like somebody's outright cheating, but you're finding ways around things by, yes, you're using maybe some exploitative measures, like the priest mind control in Mist of Tyrannuscythe, right? There was something early on that a priest could do. I think it's interesting to see these little bugs happen and to see what happens and how it affects the instance. It's just it puts a different spin on it. Is it is it kosher to do? Probably not, but it makes it interesting.
Does it put the event itself, at jeopardy of not being taken quite as seriously as Zista? Like when you allow those types of things, you don't say, hey,
I mean,
you know what? That's a bug that is not intended to be used that way. You cannot do that. If you do that, you're going to be disqualified. Like,
right.
there was a whole, I forget what it was, but in the NFL, to use the competitive thing again, analogy again, there was like a way around the rules to essentially get infinite timeouts. If you were using them at the correct times and for the correct circumstances. Now, that has obviously been changed. It's not technically cheating, but that's what you're supposed to have 3 timeouts. Everybody understands you're supposed to have 3 timeouts. These are the way the timeouts are supposed to function. Everybody understands how the plague borers function. Everybody understands how misdirection is supposed to function. This is clearly not how it was supposed to function. So, yeah, it's not technically against the rules, but does it degrade from the win for Echo? Does it degrade from the event as a whole?
I mean, it can. It absolutely can. But the way I look at it is if this is a bug that is in the game and is known about and everybody has access to it, I think it's fair, like it's on the table to be used. Um, if they didn't want it, like it should be fixed ahead of time. That way the event is not compromised. Um, Things that I would disagree with is if it was like they knew about a certain exploit or bug that no one else knew about, like this one pixel perfect jump that you can make to go through a wall, that was unintended and skip half the dungeon and that kind of stuff. That's where like I'm like, no, that's not okay. But this is something that was known about. So I think if it is a known bug that is on the table for anybody to use, that it's fair game.
Yeah, but
That's my
but
stance
that's
on it.
where I differ from you a little bit there, because I don't
Well,
think
then it should have been fixed ahead of time. That's my point.
right, but that means that if I'm prepping for an event like this, I really need to not only prep, my skills and work with my party and all that stuff, but then I also need to be intimately familiar with the bugs that are in the game that I might be able to exploit. And I don't think that's a road you want to go down in prepping for something like this, Indy.
I mean, I'm a huge fan of watching things like speedrunners and whatnot, not even in just any game. And what they do is they find like exploits and quote unquote bugs sometimes that help propel them. And I think that, granted, it's probably not, if you saw something being exploited in the MDIs or, even the Great Push, it's kind of like there's a line. At what point is it okay to consider somebody still eligible to win while using these interesting mechanics? But I still think it's entertainment for me to see somebody find something that like this, like the misdirect bug. I mean, they're not wall clipping, they're not, trying to break the game. It's just something interesting. It puts a twist on it. It's not gonna, I mean, it might have affected their time,
Oh, it
but
did.
also,
Oh, it definitely did.
but
Yeah.
but also you're taking a risk by using something like that. You're taking a risk in A, getting disqualified, or B, having it go wrong.
Yeah,
'Cause who
and
I mean, you look
ultimately
at
we're talking about one dungeon, right out of a
right.
handful of dungeons that they need to run anyway. But so my thing is like I think it puts Blizz in a really awkward spot right now on this. Because one, to your point, Zista, yeah, this has been a long-standing bug that should have been fixed a long time ago if you intended to do something about it or if you honestly believed it was a bug. Two, the second, because these things are monitored, right? I mean, they are closely monitored by not just the commentators, but a whole production staff behind the scenes. The second you see that strat start to go off, if you have a problem with it, you have to say it right then. Like you can't, you have to send somebody to the echo table right now and tell them, stop this run. They need to start this dungeon over again and don't do that. They didn't.
But like to add on to Indy's point too, though, like you go and watch any speed run, like go watch the Super Mario Brothers on NES. Go watch those speed runs. You'll see people clipping through walls, hitting blocks,
Yeah.
and going down pipes and warping to places that you don't know. Like I know in is it
Right.
4-2, I think it is. Like you hit a block that normally spawns like a beanstalk that you're supposed to climb, but if you hit it in the right way and go down a pipe at a certain amount of time, it warps you up there without climbing the beanstalk. It's like these are exploits, these are bugs.
Right,
That's
but
part of speedrunning.
I get the comparison that you two are making. I do, and I can appreciate it, but that's also why that type of speedrunning comes in multiple categories, including any percentage, 100%, no glitch, glitch,
Absolutely.
This does not. This is push your damn keys, win 20 grand. Like, that's it. I don't know. The name is still terrible, though. The name is still awful.
We can all agree on that.
Yes. It was very interesting to watch.
In their terms of service for the competition, did they say that you couldn't use bugs or exploits to clear the dungeons? Was that in the rules?
Know. I don't know. Echo had me on standby, but they didn't call me, so I didn't get to read the...
Aww.
Yeah, I know. There was a shot. Because
that is a different story. If it's in the rule set that they've agreed to beforehand, and then they go ahead and do this, then I'm on your side with this, Mike. But if not,
Blizz, I think at the very least, Blizz has to say something.
Yeah, but I'm saying if that was not made clear when they signed up to do this, and like there was nothing stating that they couldn't, and congratulations, like you found something. Clever use of game mechanics. I'm not even upset.
We got some 9.1 info. We now know a little more about how catch-up gear is going to work in the patch whenever the hell it comes out. So if you are an altaholic and you've got a lot of alts you want to gear up, or you just stop playing for a while and you want to gear up your main and save yourself a lot of grind, we're going to have basically two options, gang. One is go ahead and just play through Korthia, like the new zone, the weekly events, assaults, daily rewards, all that stuff. It's going to drop gear for you like a level 200. The problem with that is that is account bound, or is character bound. So, you have to play it on your alt. So if you're running your alt in at like, item level 150, that could be a problem. The other way, though, is account bound, not character bound, and actually gives you a use for any Stygia you might be holding on to. Because for 1,000 Stygia, you can buy an eye level 200 piece of gear that could then later be upgraded to 233, and you could mail that to your alts. Now, it goes as an armament, and then when that character opens it, it's a random slot, so you can't like buy pants and send them to your alt. But it does give you a way of using some Stygia and funneling characters. I will caution you on the actual upgrading when we get to that in a moment here, because remember the new raid is going to drop in the normal version at 226. These could be upgraded all the way to 233. You're going to need some friendly rep, which shouldn't be too hard to get. And so I do like that there's this little trade-off here for your alts, although none of the three of us, Indy, are really altaholics here.
No, definitely not. But my main is a little farther behind gear-wise. She's like 218 right now. So the thing that I don't like...
No, I think you'll be fine there. I mean, if you're... My main's 217.
Yeah, I think it's fine. It's not... I'm not... Listen, there's no great push with my main. She's... I basically eked out some mythic plus 15s, and I'm happy with that. I don't need to be in the 20s. I'm happy with where she's at. But if I was looking to catch her up, true.
What's that, Sizda?
I said next patch she'll have to eke out those 20s to get the portals.
True.
Yeah.
Or the
Fun
teleports.
Stuff.
Yeah, teleports.
Fun stuff. Now you will be able to upgrade these two all the way to 233. Now that's going to work through a different rep grind with the Archivist Codex. Basically, you're going to gather relic fragments from just doing stuff in the world quests and things like that in the new zones. They're going to be open on day one, so there's no like time gating or anything like that. You'll turn the fragments in for catalog research, because having one currency when you could have two is why. So get your catalog research. That, though, is used for a lot. That can be used to upgrade the Korthia gear. It could be used for zone upgrades, which makes farming easier over time. So, it's one of those almost anima type systems, right? Where the grind starts slow with these fragments, or relic fragments, but they can pick up faster as you've been grinding them. But I will caution you both, if you haven't looked at this yet, you probably don't want to use that currency on your main to upgrade gear. I mean, you're going to get gear from the raid and all that stuff for your main. You probably want to save that currency for like the actual zone upgrades. But on your alts, yeah, go for it. You can take them all the way up to 233 if you want to. Zista, you rolling anymore? Is it just Demon Hunter or bust?
Demon Hunter or bust. We're staying right there.
Keystone Mastery, speak of the devil, changing a little bit in Season 2. We all saw this coming, right?
Yeah.
When we moved to the score-based mythics, or score-based Torghast and things like that. Keystone Mastery in Season 2 is going to be based on the new scoring system, not just pushing a certain level key. Remember, it's very much like Raider IO, kind of like what we're getting in the actual version of the game now. But if you think back to when we covered that being added on the show, that score is actually made up out of tyrannical and fortified runs, which basically means you're going to need about a 15 in all the dungeons in tyrannical and fortified, Indy.
I avoid fortified. Like, that
Not anymore.
sucks for me. It does. It sucks for me. Because there's a couple instances where that's just a real pain in the ass for a healer.
Well, there's a lot of people that do it the other way. They don't do them on tyrannical week.
Yeah, I think it's all preference, because you'll hear tanks and people who run these groups all the time. I have friends who literally just do carries, and they're like, oh, it's easy week, and I'm like, what are you talking about? This is like hell week. So it's all preference. But for me, I don't like. I avoid certain weeks, and with this, it's kind of hard to avoid an affix if it's the primary one and you don't like doing it.
Yeah, I don't like this one, Zista, compared to the Season 1 where, hey, beat everyone on 10 or 15 or whatever whatever achievement you're trying to get. I don't like this one because I essentially have to do each one twice.
Yeah. If there's no amount attached to it, which I'm not sure because I didn't look that deep, if it's just the teleports, because I think the teleports are at 20. If there's nothing for the mounts at 15, I'm not even gonna bother with it. Like, I barely want to do the one that I have right now to do, and it's only because I want the mount. So.
Do you
They're making it longer and drawn out, and it's like something that I already want to do. You're making that more difficult for me to do. So I really don't want to do it even more. Like, this is in comparison of like trying to get Mike to run Torghast.
Guilty as charged. Something else happened today, Indy. What was it?
Burning Crusade?
Oh, yeah. Burning Crusade. Welcome, everybody. It is June 1st. Burning Crusade Classic now live for all of you. If you've been participating in pre-patch, now we are patch. I guess that's the way that works. You go from pre-patch to patch. Burning Crusade now available. Indy, how are we doing so far?
So here's what happened.
See, now what had happened was.
Here's the thing.
I made my Belf Priest, and I got so, like, when I was trying to level my Belf Priest in pre-patch, every area in the starter zone was so heavily, like, camped, and it's classic Burning Crusade, so you can't share mobs with people of the same faction. You can't just finish your quest. You literally have to wait in line, and then there's people who cut the line. So I was like, you know what? I'm not feeling this.
But back in your day, you loved this.
Back in my day, it was lovely, but right now it's like, who's got time for that? So I decided I decided that I would level the Belf Priest, yes, but it's not going to be ready in time. And why bother taking my other priest through the Dark Portal if that's not going to be my main? I'm not going to like start leveling her.
So
So
you left your initial priest in Vanilla Classic. The
well,
Belf
she's
has
in
moved to Burning Crusade Classic.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. She's in Burning Crusade. She's just not leveled
Oh,
enough to go
gotcha.
through the Dark Portal.
Gotcha.
I thought I'd have it done in time, but you know me with procrastination and actually doing things.
Zista not going through the Dark Portal, as we could tell by the color in the background. Now, I know you were like upset about the mount in the collector's set and all of that stuff, but I think we should delve into this a little more. What is your hang up with Classic? Like, why has it not interested you in any way, shape, or form?
First and foremost, it's the been there, done that of it all. Like I was there, I did it. I don't want to do it again.
You got the T-shirt while you were there?
Yeah, I actually it's sitting in the closet. But no, like I don't. I'd rather keep moving forward. I'm not somebody that like sits and goes backwards. You know, like I am living in the moment. I want to keep going forward. I will look backward fondly on those memories because I am very uh memory driven person. But as you could tell, like if you've experienced anything, you're like, I used to love this as a kid, or I've been to this place when I was a kid, and you go back and you're like, why did I like this? Like it's not what it's cracked up to be.
Man,
I don't enjoy
don't
any
ever
of that.
date and then break up with Zista because he just looks forward. He just looks forward. This relationship's over. I'm out.
Yep.
And I'll have you know that I enjoyed Disney more as an adult. So can't say that. Some of us like, you know, nostalgia.
But Disney is constantly upgrading and evolving. Like you go back and if you were to go back and ride like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride or the Snow White ride that was taken out, you'd be like, why is this still here?
Okay,
You
I'll
know,
have
Disney
you know.
updates, so they do a good polished job of cleaning up all the stuff that is outdated. That's not a
necessarily
if
true.
Disney was left the exact same way it was when you went as a kid, you'd be bored as hell as an adult.
I went back as an adult on the Figment ride in Epcot, which has not changed at all, and I loved every second of it.
But it's just a figmentation of your imagination.
Da, 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 da. I might be
Figment
playing.
was always my favorite.
I might be
Me
might be playing Burning Crusade Classic. I might have gotten sucked in a little bit.
Did ya?
Might have.
Are you playing with the guild? I know the guild's playing.
I am on the server, and it is Alliance side.
Blood Sale, yeah.
But they have not invited me yet. But I haven't told anybody that
Rude.
I'm on. So no, it's not rude. I haven't told anybody
Rude.
that I was on. I was
I'm
hiding.
gonna yell at Emmy
I
right
was
after
hiding.
the show.
No, Emmy couldn't
I'm gonna
possibly
yell at
know.
Emmy right
I was
after the
hiding.
show.
I was hiding.
Yelling at her. I just want an excuse to yell at Emmy. Just let me have it.
I'm probably only doing it so that I can send Havoc my brother's screenshots because that was like when we started playing.
Right.
And then he played. I mean, he was in like hardcore progression rating through Cataclysm and Mists, and Mists was kind of, you know, where it started to fall apart for him and his group, and he hasn't played in years and years. So I don't know if I'm playing to enjoy it or if I'm playing just to send him screenshots and be like, look, it's Shadow Labs when it's still relevant, stuff like that. But we'll see. I have rolled my human mage, and the trek has begun at level 58 because I wasn't starting at 1. Fuck that noise.
I'm just upset that we're on an RP server because I may have been interested in rolling, you know, a horde character just to come camp Mike all the time.
Oh, we are on an RP server, and believe me, I do not wear pants. I do not wear pants ever. You
spend a lot of time in the Goldshire Inn.
That's none of your business.
Server.
That's none of your
We'd
business.
have
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it actually. Like I'm 58, so was just polishing off some stuff in in Plague Land, in Plague Lands to kind of get ready and You know, I haven't gone through the portal at all today. Moon God RP. Anytime I see that in writing, Goblin, Moon God RP, I immediately think of Darnell singing the 12 Days of Christmas.
Oh
Oh
my
yeah,
god.
it's the best.
If you missed Mike B, a.k.a. Phony, guesting this past Saturday on Gaming Gumbo, by the way, another show on this channel, that is available on YouTube and on the site. It was a great show, a lot of fun. Always fun hanging out with Mike B. It's been far too long. And you can see him make a diving save to keep a nude child off the stream. So it was a lot of fun. Go check out the show. All right, let's move on to some other Blizzard info before we wrap it up. First off, I'm sure everybody get your shocked and amazed faces on. Are they on? Good. What do you got going on there, Indy? Damn.
She needs attention.
She does need attention. She is upset that there is no BlizzCon this year.
She really is. She's protesting right now.
I can see that. We're getting a lovely view of a cornhole right there.
If there's not a BlizzCon next year, heaven help us.
Well, we're going to get this kind of digital hybrid thing early next year. I mean, we kind of all called this, right? Like when we finished up digital BlizzCon in February, we kind of went, it doesn't really make sense to have one. Like if Overwatch or Diablo was going to be right around the corner from a November BlizzCon, then I think you go ahead and do it. Right. Mm-hmm. And you just have Diablo 4 or Overwatch 2 marquee the damn thing, and then it comes out in December or January. We all know that it's probably mid to late next year at the earliest for those titles now, based on everything we're hearing, based on more departures, by the way. So yeah, it doesn't. To me, it doesn't make sense to have one in November. Now, what you do with a digital event in February, March, I don't know, Indy. Blizz is in a really weird spot right now.
Yeah. Well, they don't need the digital events. I mean, I don't think that they absolutely need it. And I don't really want another BlizzCon line because it's just not... There's something about even the BlizzCons that you don't go to physically. There's something about knowing that they're having it and then you're just kind of tuning into it. It makes it more exciting. I wasn't super into BlizzCon line because I don't know. It wasn't the same. I had the fortune of attending a BlizzCon in person 10 years ago. And for me, it's about that. So until they can do that safely, I don't think there's any reason to have another BlizzCon line because A, like you said, there's nothing right around the corner. And B, where would the content be for those of us who really enjoy tuning in for the in-person events like the cosplay contests and the concerts?
Yeah, and there's the argument, Zista, that, you know, they could have been looking at this, right? Obviously, there's still COVID restrictions and things like that to consider as far as doing a live event, particularly when they're in California, when a lot of those restrictions aren't as lax as they are starting to become in other states, mostly due, of course, to, you know, just sheer population of California. And, you know, hey, we're kind of running out of time to plan a live event, not knowing exactly what legally we might be allowed and might not be allowed to do, so let's just move it. So, yeah, I mean, I saw this coming. It'll be interesting to see what they do in February. That's for sure.
I mean, I think a digital event is fine. Like, they don't have to like make it into the whole Blizzard or BlizzCon experience or anything like that. They probably just have a couple little announcements that they want to show off. Probably, you know, like a Hearthstone expansion or, you know, the next patch in WoW or something like that they can do that are not huge. That like just kind of need a little video and just something to get people hyped for and like event to get like. I know at any time the PlayStation does a state of play or Nintendo does a Nintendo Direct, but if I'm not interested in the main thing that they're showing off, I'm there to watch it. You know, like that's what I'm expecting out of this. So I think it's a good alternative for what we have to deal with right now. I still just want to see a BlizzCon on the East Coast. Please.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
No, you're never getting that one.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, no, you're never getting that one.
On the Diablo front, Dom, let's get a quick check. Zista, where's that phone? Are we in Immortal yet?
Did you uninstall it?
Um,
I'm surprised you
Diablo
didn't have it ready.
Immortal. Nope, still registered.
Registered, still not in it.
Nope.
Well, hey, at least you didn't get a cease and desist from Blizzard. I mean, I guess that helps.
I mean, I'm also not, exploiting things.
D2R offline and D2R modding were messing around with some mods and allowing players to play classes not officially available in the alpha for the Diablo 2 Resurrected version, and even play the alpha offline. And yeah, it turns out that's a security risk. And while Blizzard is totally fine with supporting the modding community in Diablo 2, which I think is important for them to do so, given how big of a community that was back in the day, and ironically still is, if you go peek around. This, I kind of feel like, yeah, you kind of had to know that this one was coming, Indy. It's a security issue, for God's sakes.
You're giving too much credit. I don't really have, like, honestly, on this subject, I don't, like, have a super strong opinion because it's Diablo and I'm not really Diablo player.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. The game doesn't matter. They were modding things to make classes available that you're not supposed to be able to have. Oh, and by the way, get you to be playing an alpha offline, which you're not even supposed to be playing. And you're surprised Blizzard responded with a cease and desist. These are security threats. That's like, put on the shocked face again, please.
You're always going to have people testing those limits.
I guess.
I was one of them back in back in my day. There's a video on my old YouTube channel. It was before I took the name Indie Corona, so like I'm not really worried about it, but we broke into Hyjal before the Burning Crusade came out.
So, you were a rebel. You were a rebel.
Yeah.
I mean, I think up to Cataclysm, I was in almost every area in the game before it came out. I was in Ancrage, walking through the tunnels of Ancrage before that dungeon was released.
Oh my god, yes, that's right.
Yeah, you had, like, it was a mage exploit with a blink that you had to blink through the wall of, like, outside around the back of the, like, ocean side. And then you would just kind of drop in through one of the rooms, and then you were able to explore through all there. That was before the gates were even open. This was forever ago. But yeah, like
the Hyjal too?
Oh, I absolutely did. I have one. I have one with my main tank. We used to go in there with like Noggin Fogger elixirs and fly off the top of Hyjal before it was open back in vanilla. But yeah. I don't know. Like what exactly is the security threat? Like when I hear security threat, I think of like people's information getting released. Like this is just their security threat is what, like some of their unreleased classes are available to the public. Is that the security issue? Like that to me is not a security threat. So I don't know exactly what they're considering a security threat, but while I don't necessarily agree with the mods that they should be available to put out there and test it, I just don't like the wording that is used in it. I know modding community is still really strong for both. I not just Diablo 2, but for Diablo 1, because I know there's a modding group out there that have restored NPCs and old quests that didn't even exist back in the original Diablo with one of the priests that was in the game files that still had audio files but had no other data files, and they actually created a sprite and threw them back in the game and reinstated some of the quests just to do that. Those are mods you can still download right now to go do that are still being actively worked on for Diablo 1. So the fact that Diablo 2 is being modded is not even a surprise to me. I'm just a little shocked that they're calling it a security threat over here to have some unreleased material early.
Well, I mean, you are modding things in the files to be able to play it offline when that is clearly not the intent. It's not just opening up, hey, that character class is data in the packet. I'm making it visible when Blizz actually meant for it to be invisible for right now. But
Right.
modding the game to be able to play it offline, I think, is a totally different can of worms when you talk about this stuff.
Well,
It's
no,
not
see, I'm
intended to be
agreeing
played
with
that
you
way.
on that. I just don't think
Yeah.
security threat is the right word for it. That's all. I feel like it should be called something else. Like security, I feel like is like your own personal data is being, taken, or somebody's at harm or at risk, or I don't think that's the case here. I think it's just you're exploiting things that are not intended and they're not happy about it. But I don't think that's what a security
Well, you get
risk
the
is.
old C&D anyway. The old cease and desist.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not even surprised in the slightest.
The old C&D. Moon
C&D.
gotta pee.
Damn it, Darnell.
Yo, it's your boy Darnell. Hey, girl, flower. Justice slap, boom. Go watch Blizz Blues if you don't know what we're talking about. I still go back and watch those. Let me ask you, okay, Indy, I know you're not like a Diablo girl and everything. That's fine. You don't have to know anything about the game for what I'm going to ask here. I saw Game Rant post something about Diablo 4. And I think all three of us would agree that Blizz kind of has to hit a home run with this. They kind of have to hit back-to-back home runs with Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2. They're in a weird spot right now. They have a huge gap. We talked about their turnover. We've talked about employee feelings that were expressed in the IGN article. And I mean, they don't need to be grand slam, super mega awesome, record-breaking hits. I don't think they have to go that far. But they do have to do well. They do have to appease customers and come out in a very strong way. So let's say home run, but maybe it doesn't have to be a grand slam. Okay?
Yes.
I would have agreed with that sentiment, but I think Game Rant took it another step further, and I haven't decided yet if I agree with them or not. Now, this was specifically to Diablo 4, but I guess you can kind of wrap the question around Overwatch 2 as well, kind of saying, hey, you know what? Diablo 4 has to revitalize the ARPG genre. And they kind of make the comparison that when Diablo 3 came out, very well received, Endgame was kind of shallow for a lot of people's expectations, but there was no denying that Diablo 3 was the king of the hill when it came out. Fast forward to now, that's not necessarily the case anymore.
Not even close.
Right, where you now live in a world where there's Path of Exile. Path of Exile 2 is coming around the corner. You have the Torchlight series. Let's set 3 aside because that's kind of lukewarm, but 1 and 2. I mean, you have an ARPG genre now that Diablo is not going to just enter it being the de facto number 1 because they're the biggest and they're the latest entry in it. They're now, Kiggles is pointing out Path of Exile doing just fine. They're saying their opinion is more of like, hey, if Diablo 4 just tries to carry forward and doesn't really learn from the mistakes of Diablo 3 or even the mistakes of Path of Exile, knowing that Blizzard has friends at Grinding Gear Games and they talk and things, if they don't learn from those mistakes and they just spit out another ARPG right along those lines with the same pitfalls, they're going to be in real trouble here. And this is a difficult balancing act for Blizzard to try and pull off with Diablo 4. Do you necessarily agree with the assertion there, Zista?
This genre is definitely it needs something. It needs a breath of new life because at least for me, I'm not too interested in the game. I played through it once, right? I love the story. I love all of that.
You're talking
But
about
for
3.
PvE, yeah, well, for this entire genre, is like I'll play through the game for the story. Yeah, for Diablo 3, Diablo whatever, the Diablo story in general.
Oh, so
Played
you
through the
would
game
hate
once.
Path of Exile then, having to do all the
I played
acts
it.
every season.
Yeah. No, I've played them all, but it's even like Diablo 3. Like I've gone back. I've done one season of Diablo 3. I don't remember which one it was. Um, at least a year or two ago. And it was like, okay, I had a little bit of fun like doing it, but I also hadn't played the game since it had come out at that time. So I was like, okay, but like I can't repeat it over and over again. I know this is funny sounding like coming from somebody that is raiding and WoW running the same dungeons over and over and the raids over and over again, but like for me, I get distracted by that because it's about the people that I'm playing with, and it's like the conversations and the dialogue that we have that is new and unique every time, and that's what keeps me going. The same way that I could watch a let's play of somebody playing through a game and then another person or duo doing another let's play, it's because the dialogue or the banter every single time is different, that it's not I'm focused on the game, but I'm more involved in the conversation that's happening. But me playing these games, it's the same thing over and over again. I get bored really, really quickly, and I don't want to play them.
Yeah, a
It,
game
it,
rant.
it needs something new, and I don't know. I don't have the answer for that,
Well,
but
then maybe you agree, because this is the way they summed it up
yeah,
over at Game Rant. And credit where due. Author for this one was Jeffrey Yu. Jeffrey summed it up with this. Either way, Diablo 4 has to make some fundamental changes to the Diablo formula if it wants to retain a sizable player base through its lifespan. With more ARPGs being released and sequels like Path of Exile 2 in development, it's imperative that Diablo 2 manages to alleviate some of the issues within the genre. Diablo has essentially been the pioneering franchise in the looter ARPG genre, and the success of Diablo 4 could easily inspire other developers to evolve their games as well. More than anything, Diablo 4 needs to revitalize the ARPG genre in a way that promotes build viability, accessibility, and continued evolution. It should look to take the best aspects of the genre and turn them into an experience that's open to newcomers and veterans alike. Of course, it's extremely difficult to perfectly balance the loot-driven design against inevitable grinding, but placing more emphasis on build diversity and viability will go a long way in encouraging replayability in Diablo 4. Sounds like you're right in line with that, Zista.
yeah, yeah. I'm hoping. Like I enjoy the Diablo series, but like I said, I played through it once. Typically, don't go back. I may play it again one time. I can tell you, Diablo 1, I've probably played through that game 6 or 7 times, but they've been years and years apart. Diablo 2, I've probably played maybe 4 times. Diablo 3, I've played exactly twice.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Overwatch. Here we go. Let's finish up today, gang. In Overwatch news, popular streamer and Florida Mayhem member Samito has been cut by the team. The Florida Mayhem tweeting out, effective immediately, Samito will no longer be affiliated with the Florida Mayhem. The comments made by Samito on his most recent stream are unacceptable and in no way represent the values of the Florida Mayhem. Florida Mayhem will be making a donation to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, a suicide prevention network of over 160 crisis centers across the United States that provide 24/7 service to those in need via their hotline, phone number on the tweet, 1-800-273-8255. There is always someone at the end of the phone line, and it's important to know there is support if you need it. You might be asking, why? Well, apparently last week, May 26th, Samito was doing his stream, doing his angry rants, kind of what he's known for on that front. Was telling one of his viewers to go be brain dead somewhere else. And at the end of this, tirade towards this viewer, closed it off with, "No one loves you, go kill yourself." Now, that portion of the stream was clipped and then put on, Reddit and some other places. Didn't take long for Florida Mayhem to get a hold of that or see that clip, and they pretty much cut ties immediately. Since then, Samito has put out about a 7-minute YouTube video. If you want to check that out, that is on Samito's channel. I'm not going to roll it as B-roll here. simply because it's just footage of him sitting there, and I'm not going to play the audio while we talk, so there's no real point in showing you the video. But check it out on Samito's page if you want, where he does, I mean, I guess you could say to his credit a little bit, immediately start off with, hey, I have no bad feelings towards the Florida Mayhem for cutting me. So that takes that out of this equation. I'm responsible for what I did. That's fine. We'll circle back to that I'm responsible for what I did in a second. Because although this video started off well, I don't know if it continued to stay well as you go through it. Chat reacting, yeah. I don't think anybody in the world is going to blame Florida Mayhem at this point. Like, you kind of have to cut ties at that point. What happens in the apology video, though, is where things I get a little weird for me. Indy, I know you have some pretty powerful thoughts on this world, too. Oh, people will still, yeah, Jason, you're right. People will blame Mayhem, but, they're running a business. That's not a good look. You got to go. I mean, that's kind of the end of the Florida Mayhem portion of this story for me. Yeah, you're right, though. Some people blame him anyway. The apology gets a little weird. Because at first, Indy, it does start off with things that you would expect somebody in that situation to say. I'm not mad at the team. I did this. I understand why they cut me. I love you, team. Go do your thing. You don't have to worry about me being mad or anything like that. Okay, cool. Thumbs up, right? Look, I said some stupid things. I bear the responsibility for that stuff when I say stupid things. Yeah, it's part of my persona, this, angry streamer that vents and stuff, but I took it too far. That's on me. Okay, I'm with you during this apology video so far. But then it gets a little weird.
It's about as long as it lasts.
Yeah,
like
because then it gets a little weird, right? It's like all this, I'm taking responsibility, and then all of a sudden becomes focused on the clip. The person that clipped this
it's all their fault.
Did not do the entire clip. They ended the clip right after I said, nobody loves you, go kill yourself, end of clip. And if you do watch the stream, what happens is he says that, and then immediately, like, you ever say something, not this far, but you ever say something, and as you're in the process of saying it, you're like, I should not be fucking saying this. Like, as you're in the middle of the sentence, you can almost see that happen on the original stream, where he says, nobody loves you, go kill yourself. Oh my God, why did I just say that? I'm sorry. Like, he does launch right into an apology, and I went too far. It's instantaneous. There is no pause. He blames it on having somebody told it to him in Call of Duty the other day, so the line happened to be in his head. Yeah, so it happened to be in his head as the snappy comeback. That doesn't make any of this okay. All I'm doing is letting you know that if you watch the full stream, he makes the comment, and then immediately, like halfway through, you could tell he's like, oh, shit. I am sorry. I should not have said that. I've helped people that have been in that situation. That is wrong. Blah, 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 blah. What's weird, though, is that the apology video about why he's with the Mayhem takes all this responsibility and then immediately negates that by saying this person that clipped this did not take the clip far enough to realize that I apologized immediately. I realized immediately what I did was wrong. And therefore, they're presenting me in a less than favorable light by taking things out of context, not putting the whole story. I don't care if you judge me, but I want you to judge me on the whole story. And that's why I'm not with the Florida Mayhem anymore. And it's their fault, and I'm pursuing legal action. Indy, I know you're dying to talk here, so I'll go to you first.
This entire video is nothing but gaslighting. If you're going to apologize for saying something completely and utterly screwed up on a stream, which we as streamers need to be held accountable for what we say on our streams to our communities. So that's first and foremost. You should have just left it at, that was really messed up. I'm sorry, I take accountability. But no, he goes on to try to make excuses for why he said what he said. And just gaslighting the entire time. Hey, I've helped people who wanted to kill themselves. Listen, man, that you don't even go there. Don't add insult to injury and say that you've saved people who've been suicidal because you probably don't know anything about it. And secondly, he went on to say he heard somebody else say it in CS:GO. So it was like fresh in his mind. I've heard people say some really awful things too, but you don't see me repeating them on my stream because I'm not a salty, toxic person. You have to be responsible for who you are, for this persona that you put out there. You have little kids looking up to you. If you're going to behave that way, at least take ownership of it and say, this is who I am. This is what I did. And yeah, it went a little too far, but leave it at that. Instead, he's going on to say that whoever clipped it is a troll who he's going to sue. Good luck with that, by the way. If you are accepting accountability, you don't go and sue somebody and say that their clip is the reason that you got let go from any organization. Like you can't do that. The words came out of your mouth, not the troll's mouth. Yes, if you clip something cleverly, it can appear one-sided, but those words still came out of your mouth. So like stop blowing smoke up the internet's ass on this one. Like take responsibility or don't.
And
I thought this whole video was absolute bullshit. And I don't
see,
get.
I don't go with you initially. I think like I think first off, you should never have put yourself in a position to have to make this type of video. Let's just get that out of the way first. You know, it should not have been said under any circumstances, joking or otherwise. There are things that I said as a teenage boy, talking to my teenage boy friends, making fun of each other in the 90s, that I would not say today to people my age who grew up in that era and who would totally know that I was joking and that I just don't say them anymore. You know, I've learned, I've evolved, right?
Yeah.
I'm not entirely on board with how far cancel culture is taken in our society either. I think there are instances where it is taken too far or engaged for minor offenses. And I do believe people should be given the opportunity to learn the way I have when I was a teenager versus today. That said, this was a horrible thing to say. And if you needed to make an apology, fine. Go ahead and make your apology. And I, watching the original streams, Zista, honestly believe that in the initial gut reaction moment, he had an, oh shit, I can't believe I said that. That was wrong. Mea culpa. In the moment. I don't think that stream, that said, I don't think if Mayhem sees the entire clip, I don't think they keep him. I think they still get rid of him. So that doesn't matter. But I think in that moment, there was, oh my God, what am I doing? I shouldn't have said that. Fast forward to the making of the YouTube video, and I think you're fine for the first couple of minutes. Hey, just want to respond. Florida Mayhem just cut me. I want my viewers to know why. This was totally my fault, etc., etc., etc. I thought things were off to a good start in that indie. I didn't think the entire video was crap until we got to about that midway point, and it started becoming, they have defamed me by clipping it in this certain way, and I'm going after them, and then literally says, they're why I'm not with the Mayhem anymore. 2.5 minutes after saying, I'm not with Mayhem anymore because I did something stupid and I take responsibility for that. The tone in that video is what shifted immensely for me, Zista.
Yeah, I think part of it too, and because like we're outsiders on this situation, we're looking in. We don't know everything that's gone on. Obviously, we have what was said, and we all know that that was wrong, including him, right? It seems like just based on this video, because I'm not well versed with him and everything ahead of it, like prior to this.
If you don't know,
he has
is a very Dr. Disrespect type personality.
Kind of, yeah.
Where that character,
no, I got that for sure.
Yeah.
But he has somebody in his Reddit community or whatever that he said that has done this on multiple occasions, clip things to make other things appear like they are not. I'm not trying to stick up for this guy by any means, but if that is entirely the case, if there is somebody that has purposely been going around and taking little segments of things out of context, that gets really frustrating after a while. So I think part of this may have been he is genuinely sorry. He knows what he said should not have been said. He's frustrated at somebody who's continually been at him to make him look worse than he is in prior situations. And just because it was clipped in a way that didn't include his apology, he's even more upset right now. So I could get that. And I can even slightly understand and respect it slightly. But I do not agree that it is this person's fault that he is banned from Mayhem at all. And I do not condone what he said in the slightest. But I can understand his frustration. That does not make it right, and that does not mean he has any rights to sue the person. I think that is absurd. But I kind of get his mentality where he was trying to go. It just was not executed properly.
Take it from somebody who's dated sociopaths. The behavior is typical. He did something wrong. He's throwing it out there as an apology, trying to make himself look like the victim. And then he's backpedaling by saying, I was once suicidal. I help people not commit suicide. And like he's throwing all these things at you that are completely detracting from the point that should be the apology. The clip, the original Twitch clip, isn't even what bothered me.
Yeah, the original Twitch clip itself, if you do see the entire clip, which he also shows in this video, by the way, if you do see the Twitch clip, I don't think we're talking about this unless there's the follow-up video. Because
this video pissed me off.
Yeah, watching the Twitch clip, I totally thought his apology was sincere. Like, not only did he realize, oh my God, I did something wrong, I got to apologize, but I think in the eyes, you can almost see this, wow, that was not just wrong and I need to take that back because I'm in a public forum, but there was instant regret on, I just shouldn't have said that. Like, even if I was in a public forum or not, I shouldn't have said that. I think that was fine. It was the YouTube video after that kind of went bizarro for me, Indy.
Oh, it absolutely did. And like I said, it seems like it's one person that's gotten under his skin that kind of he's lashing out and like focusing where it should not be. He's focusing on this one person instead of what the video was supposed to be about. And that's the direction it took that's a bit wrong.
I get what you're saying, Zista.
Yeah.
I think if that's the case, that needs to be a separate video or not a video at
Absolutely.
all.
That's what I mean. Like, it wasn't worded or executed properly. I understand where at least I think where he was trying to go with it.
Yeah.
It was just not done well at all.
That video should have ended about a minute and a half in, I think. Just been like, hey, here's why I'm not with the team. My own fault. Team, love you. Go have a great season. Later.
But he cancels everything he says in the beginning of the video with all the smoke he blows the entire duration. So that's what got me. Like, it's like you're insulting, you're adding insult to injury.
Yeah, not a good look. And I mean, Florida Mayhem had no choice. No choice. No choice. I mean, even if they saw the clip in its entirety, no choice. You gotta.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last up, Mr. Zista, you playing any of the Hearthstone this week when the mini expansion comes out?
See, I don't play too much Constructed anymore. I'm kind of like locked into the Battlegrounds, but I'm still gonna buy this.
Of course you are.
I mean, I'm not gonna spend real money on it. I have the option to use in-game currency, and I have a lot saved up, so I will be buying it. Yeah.
All right. Well, let us know what you think of the stuff that you don't play next week. That's just a little reminder for everybody else. If you're playing Hearthstone, you do have the mini expansion for the Barons coming out this week. Wailing Caverns. Check it out.
I mean, I do play 5 wins every week, so any extra cards help me, so.
Yeah. You're going to have to play it a little bit.
I got to get the 5 wins every month to get my card back. That's the only time I play Constructed.
Let's slide over and do Lore or Lies. This is our final segment of every show where we give you 3 statements, one of which has a falsehood, the other 2 are the stone cold truth. We've been following the lore and the main story for Shadowlands 9.0 since its launch. We're working our way through it as spoiler-ish free as we can. with the help of our resident lore master, Lil Missy. You can follow her right there on Twitter. That's at Lil, Lilmissy 4205. Thank you to her every week for volunteering and giving us some lore or lies. Now, last week, the lie was in the first statement, the one that I gave you. It was actually Secular Mevix who recognized that the blade was forged by the Primus and put his trust in the player, believing the Maw-Walker could turn the tide of the war on Maldraxxus. So
I was
here we go.
hoping it was going to be Jason's statement.
Yeah. Oh, no. So here we go. I'll give you a statement. Zista will give you one. Indy will give you one. One's a lie. In the comments on YouTube or on ReadyCheckRadio.com, RAIDEO.com. Let us know which one has the lie and what the lie is. What special surprise does Plague Deviser Marilith have for players? Why, their very own slime. Not only are they his favorite creation, but they're extremely helpful when the Maw-Walker needs to find lost laboratory equipment. And there's Necromancer Corum the Cunning, who's after the slimes and must be removed. But as Corum takes his last breath, he says the damage has already been done.
Before players start the task set by Marilith, they discover his journal on the table behind him. But it's missing pages that are scattered at the entrance area for the House of Plagues. Finding the pages, they learn more about the fall of the house and how Marilith came to be the way he is now.
Players discover that both Marilith and Margrave Stradama were suspicious of civil war in the Primus's absence, but without anima, their power has stagnated. The House of Constructs offered anima, but it could be a trap. Since there's no proof, Marilith has a new potion as a last resort to protect his Margrave. But the house falls before he could create it.
One of those statements has a lie in it. Could be big, could be small. It's your job to find it and let us know what it is. If you're hanging out with us in chat, don't go anywhere. Right after this show, we've got a streamer coming online. Mr. Jason Winter, how are you, sir?
I'm doing okay, but just looking for something calm and resting tonight. Calm and chill.
What are you just playing some lo-fi music and chilling with chat? Is that what's going on?
Exactly what it's going to be. Just nice, calm, and chill. Something, no stress whatsoever. League of Legends.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'm actually going to play Euro Truck Simulator 2.
Oh, well, I mean, that can be calm and relaxing as long as you're doing things right. As long as you're
a man in a highway and his cargo.
That is
hopefully
cargo.
not too fragile.
What the hell made you want to play this all of a sudden?
Because I wanted something calm and chill. You know what else I wanted to play? And I looked at my Steam library. I'm like, I haven't played that for a while. March 17th, 2020, it says the last time I played. So,
well, I mean, you missed the 1-year anniversary a little bit by a few months, but that's all right.
Yeah.
You could play it. Chat, Jason will be live right after the show, so hang tight. We go dark for about 15, 20 seconds to relabel everything, and he'll be live. We'll be back, of course, next week with another episode of Snowbound, Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, The Relic Grind Thursday at 7 p.m., and Gaming Gumbo with Mr. Jason Winter on Saturdays at 7 p.m. Until then, Indy, where can everybody find you?
You guys can find me on Twitch at Indy Garona, and also same name, all social medias, YouTube, Insta, Twitter. You guys can come stalk me at Indy Garona. See you there.
Zista.
You can find me down below at itzista on Twitter and just Zista, XIZTA on Twitch.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there at Magic Man 1, but more importantly, follow at RC Radio so we can tweet at you every time we go live with one of our 3 podcasts, or anytime one of our volunteer streamers, who I love immensely, goes live to play games. Until next time, gang, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers. Later.